This programme is the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli.
Hi, and a very warm welcome to Brands Hatch for the 2018 Porsche Festival, a very appropriate home for the final rounds of the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. I can't wait to find out who's going to win this year's championship, very finely poised between Mark Sumpter, who heads Class 1, and Jonathan Evans, who leads Class 2. Brendan, what a splendid way to culminate the year. Tell us how the year's been for you.
Well, it's been absolutely wonderful, particularly with the introduction of the resto racing cars. But yeah, it's been brilliant. Competition has been superb, and it's so close. Today, there's 1 point between first and second. So all I can say is that it's been absolutely wonderful. And of course, we've also introduced the 997s this year, and we've had 3 of them out running. We've got 5 prepared already, so for next year, we could be looking at up to 7 997s, which is a whole new ball game completely. You know, it's just going to be faster, more powerful, bigger and better.
Mark, great way to start the final weekend of the year with pole position. Well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking for, and obviously really pleased with that. I mean, it's mega tight. You know, I can't believe how tight it is. We knew it would be sort of like maybe tenths or something like that, but for it to be sort of hundredths of a second, it's yeah, it should be a really good race.
That's really good to hear. Now, the gossip from, you probably know, is somebody relatively local to you, we see on Touring Car Weekend, said the 997's nearly ready. Ask him about it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. With 997s, it's good to go, to be fair. But we thought we've run this car all year. We'll run it here and hopefully give it a good send-off.
What happened to this car? Will this be Jake's?
That's the plan. That's the plan. Obviously, we've got to try and find a bit of funding. To run 2 cars is a bit excessive. So if we can get some funding, then definitely yes.
Really good to see you moving up this year from Class 2, where we saw you as a multi-race winner, into Class 1, and that's the beauty of this championship, isn't it? There is that progression that you can make.
Yeah, we originally started in Class 1 with the Boxster, but obviously they changed the class structure around and we were back down to Class 2, which it's done me good really, because it's you know, obviously it's given me a bit of a chance to progress a bit, and we always wanted to be in Class 1 and we intended to build a Cayman some years ago, but yeah, we finally got it built, and now it's just an uphill struggle trying to get it on the pace really.
Paul, 3rd in class in qualifying, happy with that?
I think so, yeah. A bit of a comeback mode for us at the moment. We've had a few issues with the car this year, so I was aiming to try and get a podium today. So if we can start 3rd, get off the line well, hopefully we'll be up there and no dramas in the first lap with the other guys. That'll be the ideal scenario, but it's Brands Hatch, who knows what might happen. Just getting off the line well, you know, getting a demon start, but it's one of those, a bit of a shuffle always with the first lap here, and then it's very hard to overtake, so, but you can gain or lose places, so yeah.
Mark, I think the situation you've been in before, championship neatly poised, 2 races here at Brands, qualified front row, so thoughts before we go into race 1, please?
Yeah, I just need to treat it like a normal race weekend, and you know, a couple of podiums would probably do it, but I think the best thing to do is just to try and go for, you know, make your best start, and then if there's an opportunity to win this race, it makes the second race a lot easier. So I think up until we finish the first race, I'm not really thinking too much about the championship, just to try and win the race.
Mark Sumpter sounding fairly relaxed there. Starts on the outside of the front row. Mark McAleer on pole, as we heard. Row 2, the returning Kevin Harrison and Craig Wilkins. And they're followed by Michael Price and Peter Morris. Class 2 pole with Jonathan Evans. He's got Steve CHEETHAM in Class 1 beside him. Second in qualifying Class 2, Andrew Muggeridge from Paul Seagrave and Steve Freeman. Stuart Ings once again representing Class 4 in his 944. We have had very nearly 450 miles of Petro Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship racing with Pirelli this year. And away we go. Great start by Mark McAleer. I'm sure that won't be perceived as a jump start. Mark Sumter a little bit slower off the line than he would have liked, and Kevin Harrison was snapping away very quickly. Harrison in third. The green car is Michael Price, followed by Simon Clark. But a good clean start by everybody. And Mark Sumter under big pressure here from Kevin Harrison. Lovely to see Kevin back with us. Outside line there for Craig Wilkins. 3 wide, 2 Strasser cars with Steve Cheetham making progress off his start. On board with Steve Freeman, who runs second position in the Class 2 Championship stage. Joint second, actually. 277 points with Andrew Mugridge. It's very close for class positions. The Championship, though, is between Mark Sumter on 374 points and Jonathan Evans in Class 2 has 373. Points are scored for position and how many cars in your class start the race. So the driver that beats the most cars gets the most points, which is all fair in a multi-class structured championship. Mark McAleer, the race leader. Sumter in second. And not for long, though, because Kevin Harrison's got up the inside line and Sumter's battling hard. Well, he said that he needs podium finishes, but he's racing hard, is Mark Sumter. Tried to hold on the outside line, but couldn't quite do it. So Kevin Harrison is now ahead. There's Chris Dyer in the number 9 Cayman, up ahead of Steve Cheetham. And then the white car, the leading Class 2 machine, Jonathan Evans, who is provisional Class 2 champion. And we have to say provisional until all the tech checks are done, of course. But we'll go with what we see on the day. Seeing blue sky at the moment from Simon Clark, who goes through Clark Curve onto the Bradman Straight here, chased by Craig Wilkins, who takes a high and wide line there as up front. Kevin Harrison putting the pressure here on Mark McAleer, the outgoing champion, of course, Mark McAleer, and has a defensive line there, which is followed by Harrison. Around the outside goes Mark Sumter, continuing to attack. So Mark Sumter, he could sit back and grab the points, but that is not in his nature. And the 77 car racing hard. Great view from Michael Price of the lead trio battling here along Cooper Straight into Surtees, the left-hander. Mark McAleer starting, I think, now to try and edge away once again from Kevin Harrison. Top 4, in fact, beginning to close in. Simon Clark in 5th place. Let's watch Michael Price try and close in on the 3rd place man and maybe head towards the podium. Price 3 podia so far this year. There's Natalie McGloin involved battling with a Class 2 car ahead and a Class 3 car, Class 4 car, Stuart Ings behind. Class 3, of course, Resta Racing, who have their own separate programme here from Brands Hatch, which we hope that you'll watch. And they're out in force once again this weekend to conclude their maiden year. Craig Wilkins looking a little bit unhappy there. Very twitchy back end, trying to chase Simon Clark. Clark, remember, second in the championship standings, 322 points. He's 52 down on Mark Sumter. And technically still in with a shout at the championship because there are 76 points available in Class 1, 70 being the points available in Class 2 based on the number of starters we have in this race. But remember, that could change for race 2. So Michael Price running well. There is Ed Grimshaw. Ed 4th in the Class 2 standings in the 71 car. Qualifying 6th in class today, down behind Angus Archer. So Michael Price still looking to try and close in on that lead trio, and coming under pressure here from Simon Clark in the Cayman, and then Craig Wilkins in behind. So Craig having a look down the inside line there, goes wide. They're all mindful of track limits here. I spoke about Angus Archer. There he is in the white and blue Boxster, chased by Paul Seagrave. Paul 5th in the championship on 210 points, had 5 podia this year, 1 second, 4 third places in the build-up to our championship finale here at Brands Hatch. And Simon Clark not that far behind Michael Price at the moment, but it looks like the lead trio is starting to develop a little bit of a gap over the battle for 4th place. There is Steve Freeman, and Steve qualifying 4th in class today. And now Mark Sumter on the offensive once again, looks around the outside line of Kevin Harrison in 2nd place. It's a three-way battle for the lead and a three-way battle here as well for fourth position. It really is a job for everybody to look, and the fans here have got something to look at wherever they are on the track for sure. Angus Archer still at the head of this battle, a very welcome addition to the ranks this year of the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli, and enjoying his dice with Paul Seagrave at the moment. Seagrave hoping to try and overcome Ed Grimshaw in the championship standings this weekend, as Mark Sumpter again looks to the outside line at Paddock Hill Bend, and he might go for the cutback. There's a gap on the inside of Kevin Harrison, and through on the inside line goes Mark Sumpter. Harrison wide, Sumpter gets back into second position, and Harrison working the wheel, doesn't look happiest there going through Druids, not as smooth as we've seen Kevin on the previous lap. He's losing ground, so whether Kevin Harrison's got a problem or not, I don't know. Craig Wilkins still busy chasing Simon Clark and Michael Price, and you can see Kevin Harrison dropping away. He's got a problem, and from battling for the lead, he's trying, I think, now to hang on to third place. That might be a visit to the pits. Keep your eye on the silver and orange car, which is, coming into pit lane. That's very bad news for us and for Kevin Harrison. Was doing a grand job of challenging for the lead at that point, but he's out of the race, and it means that Michael Price is now up onto a potential podium position, albeit a little bit behind the two marks, McAleer and Sumpter 1 and 2, as we watch across the line once again Angus Archer. So here's the battle for third place now, which is a three-way fight. Andy Toon being chased by Chris Dyer, and then Peter Morris in behind as well. So a trio of Strasser cars, almost like the red arrows, the red and black arrows I guess we would call them. Peter trying to close in on the two cars immediately ahead of him, going into Paddock Hill Bend once again. So Michael Price and Simon Clark third and fourth, Craig Wilkins in fifth place, then Andy Toon having a good strong race here. Andy Toon in the EPC Limited 996, and we'll have more for you from Brands Hatch after the break. Welcome back to Brands Hatch. This is the battle for third place overall and of course in Class 1, and it's Michael Price that heads them at the moment. Coming into clearways, the back end looking far from happy. I think he's collected it up, but Simon Clark pounces and goes through. Watch the rear-facing camera, because we've got Craig Wilkins looking to come through as well. They're coming up. Oh, look at that, through like a slingshot. Very quick indeed. What a great onboard to show you how fast these cars can go past. And that was into Paddock Hill Bend, remember. Not a great perspective for Michael Price, sadly, in the Forel Estates 997. And now Craig Wilkins is battling for a podium. He's fifth on the last lap, but now fighting for third. Steve Freeman up ahead here of number 70, Angus Archer, and then Paul Seagrave. Second, third and fourth position. Sorry, third, fourth and fifth positions in Class 2, because Andrew Muggeridge is in second place. Jonathan Evans in the white car here is the class leader, and about to try and pass Ed Grimshaw. Ed, good driving from Ed, pulled well over. There's Stuart Ings in the lone Class 4 944, entered by Naked Flame Heating, and Jonathan Evans literally doing everything that he can here, leading class. Not as many cars in Class 2 as there are in Class 1 this weekend, but gunning for maximum points. And we mentioned Andrew Muggeridge, the Uber GT Boxster S is there, second position in class for him at the moment, and closing up on Del Brett. So looking to put a lap on Del, who's running of course in the 2.7 litre Boxster, so a slight disadvantage to the other cars. And here's a look at this immaculate car. We were talking about the Resto Racing cars running classic liveries, and Del Brett's car does. Into Paddock Hill Bend very neatly for the Future Inns car. So Del enjoying not any dices at the moment, but this is a good test session for him. Back with the leaders though. Mark Sumpter in second position goes through. Third place, still a fight between Simon Clark in the blue and white Cayman and the gunmetal and yellow number 11 of Craig Wilkins. who pops through on the inside line of Paul Seagrave, who gets a vigorously waved blue flag. Interesting and encouraging to note that Michael Price is still there in 5th place. So Michael, whatever problem he's got with the car, if any, he's living with. Mark Sumpter just ahead of Stuart Ings. I can't seem to do anything about Mark McAleer at the moment. He won't necessarily want to. Remember, Mark McAleer had a bad start to the season and to the defence of his second title in this championship as Simon Clark negotiates the traffic along Cooper Straight. And Simon looking for 3rd place, back with the 2nd place man, Mark Sumpter. 6 wins, 3 second places and 1 3rd place so far. Michael Price about to pass Angus Archer in white and blue. So on this short lap, the Class 1 cars do start to get stuck into the Class 2s. And indeed the Class 4. Stuart Ings keeps to the outside line. Great driving from him, giving the other cars room. Andrew Muggeridge passed Del Brett. Muggeridge still in 2nd position in class, but Jonathan Evans in the CRH Racing sponsored by ESRG Group Boxster S here is still leading. Fastest lap in class as well for Jonathan Evans, but Mark Sumpter's got the fastest lap of the race outright as Michael Price continues to pass some Class 2s. Paul Seagrave going on the inside line there of Stuart Ings. As you can see on this short lap, things do get a bit crowded occasionally. So Michael Price is in 5th place, and then Chris Dyer closing in on Michael Price. So Michael, we said, was hanging in there, but Chris Dyer is closing up. Chris, one of the Strasser team who are contesting the Teams Championship. We've got 3 teams. Team Strasser, Team RVR with Cartech and Care, and the County Classics team as well. Chris, for Team Strasser, paired up with Pete Morris and Andy Toon in this race. David Botterill, the 4th member of the team, is racing here, but he's racing his car elsewhere. Team RVR, Mark McAleer and Steve Freeman. Steve there in the 68 car. And the County Classics team, Simon Clark, Michael Price, Peter Urseg, not racing with us this weekend, and Kevin Harrison, who we saw sadly retiring from the race earlier on. Pete Morris here having a good dice with Andy Toon. And Andy's going to have a look at the outside line. Andy running in the 996, and Peter Morris, one of the pioneers, the first driver to win a race in this championship in the 997. So Peter dealing with the traffic as well as the challenge from his Team Strasser teammate. Back though with Simon Clark, who didn't look particularly happy there going into Paddock Hill Bend. Mark Sumpter still the championship leader and in control of 2nd position. Mark McAleer still the race leader, looking for a 5th win of the year. Sumpter with 6, Mark McAleer with 4 at the moment. And Mark will again consolidate 3rd place here in the Class 1 standings on total points scored. The drops will come into play as well. And it is a complicated but fair point system as Mark Sumpter goes very wide on the outside line of Ed Grimshaw, powers his way past Grimshaw's 6th place car in Class 2. Blue flags being waved vigorously right the way around the circuit by the marshals at the moment. So through on the inside line of Steve Freeman goes the number 2, Peter Morris, the twice outright champion. I think the only driver to win the championship outright 2 years in succession. And Class 1 champion on 2 other occasions, going back as far as 2004. So Mark McAleer in front, he turns into Surtees. Mark Sumpter in 2nd place. And McAleer here very much on for full points, but Mark Sumpter on lap 9 set the fastest lap of the race. So Mark Sumpter will be very happy about that, know that he's got the pace to maybe live with Mark McAleer over race 2 and certainly the rest of this one. Pete Morris and Andy Toon, 7th and 8th respectively. Podium Pete a little bit away from those steps at the moment as Simon Clark continues in P3, but under big pressure here from Craig Wilkins, coming up to pass Andrew Muggeridge, who keeps a wide line there. Again, super driving by the Class 2 driver, recognises that there's a Class 1 battle coming through, and it's still Simon Clark there at the moment from Craig Wilkins. Wilkins now tucking his nose up the inside line on Clark, and he's got third place. Great move by Wilkins. Had momentum along Cooper Straight and through into third position. Let's see what Simon Clark can do. Goes through clearways. Nice wide line from Clark here. He's hugging the inside line and might try and get a run to repass Wilkins as they come through Clark Curve and onto the Brabham Straight. Andy Toon, of course, was outright champion in 2016. The Class 2 driver there, now Class 1 in the number 4 car, and really getting to grips with Class 1, but back for third place. Craig Wilkins has consolidated that. A very opportune move by Wilkins, a great move up into third place. Here is the championship leader running in second place at the moment, Mark Sumpter, and Mark McAleer is going to make a 5th win of the season here from pole position. Lights on so that the traffic knows that he's coming through. I don't think he's going to negotiate any more cars between now and the checkered flag. Comes through Clark Curve and onto the Brabham Straight, and we'll see the checkered flag. Mark McAleer wins here at Brands Hatch, the opening race of the weekend. Mark Sumpter will take second position, but this race about Mark McAleer. Third position again, fighting to the flag, but it's Craig Wilkins in third. Simon Clark finishes in 4th place. The two Marks waving to the very healthy crowd here, and there is so much Porsche activity to see, so many wonderful examples of the Mark represented in display, and this has been a good display as well by Jonathan Evans, who will take a 10th win of the season. 10 wins, 1 second place, his podium record this year, and it's another one for him as he takes the checkered flag, keeping his championship hopes alive. Second position in class going to Andrew Muggeridge. So here's the result. The two Marks, McAleer and Sumpter 1 and 2. Craig Wilkins third from Simon Clark and Chris Dyer. Michael Price was 6th from Pete Morris and Andy Toon. Then Jonathan Evans winning Class 2 from Andrew Muggeridge. Steve Freeman next from Angus Archer. Paul Seagrave, Ed Grimshaw, Del Brett and Stuart Ings.
Mark, Brands India looked very crowded out there, but you dealt with the Class 2s and the Class 4 car, managed to come through.
Yeah, I mean, we got a pretty good start, and it was very tight the first opening laps. But then, yeah, we managed to just sort of get a bit of a gap and sort of back the pace back a little bit just to try and save the car a little bit for the second race as well if possible. But then, of course, we encountered the slower Class 2 cars, and I thought that all went out the window, and we had to start trying to pick it up a little bit again. And yeah, good race. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mark, congratulations, second position, fastest lap as well, and that's an extra point.
And we need them, yeah. We're going to go back now, look at our spreadsheet and work out what we need to do after lunch. But it's a very tense day, you know. I mean, I'm trying to just treat it like a normal race meeting, but, you know, it's nice to win a championship, so I'm obviously focused on that.
One more race to go, and, you know, interesting start, wasn't it? Kevin was nibbling away in those open laps, got past you, got back past him, so certainly not easy. Yeah,
I had to fight with Kevin a little bit. Which I could have done without, but you know, they're all racing, and obviously they're not trying to win the championship, so they're sort of gloves off racing.
And as you say, it is now a question of spreadsheets and abacus, because we've got drop scores to take into account. I'm pretty sure Jonathan has to drop a few more than yourself.
Yes, yeah, we're definitely in better shape for that as long as we finish the next race. We'll work it out. I think a podium would do it now. Now, with that fastest lap, I think a podium would do it, assuming that Jonathan gets all the points available on the table.
Jonathan, another splendid win for you here in the sunshine. Great conditions, and I've got to say, you're looking fine fettle after that race.
Yeah, it was good. All the way, decent lead, and then sort of just managed it really halfway through and held it, so it was all right.
And in terms of pit signals and stuff like that, you're getting any information about what's happening to Mark Sumpter, or are you just literally concentrating on your own race, as you said to me before the start of race 1? Yeah,
I think that's the best thing to do. I mean, I can see Mark or the two Marks, Mark McAleer and Mark Sumpter, battling as I kind of go around, or towards the end of the race, as I was going around Druids, I can see them coming down. But yeah, I mean, I was more focused on just trying to keep my car on the black stuff really, and not chuck it all away.
It's been a good year for you though, hasn't it? And a fantastic championship once again.
Yeah, it's been really good. I raced in Porsche Club back in 2015. I think it's 2013, 14 and 15 I did. And, you know, some great times. I went away, did some stuff in Europe, did some stuff, you know, GT stuff kind of in the UK. And actually, sort of for value for money and competitive racing, I think it's very difficult to beat Porsche Club.
Craig, lovely move there at the end of race number 1 to sneak up onto the podium.
Yeah, I was quite pleased with that. I had to keep under a lot of pressure for the whole race, and he made a very, very small mistake, which I capitalised on. That's good.
And any prediction for this one?
Yeah, it's hot.
Where are you going to finish?
About there. That's about it. I've got no idea yet. I think it's quite important for Mark to win this race for his championship. And sadly, through 1 or 2 engine failures and problems, I haven't actually played that much of a part this year. So if I have to race him, I'll race him, but I hope he drives off a little bit in front and I can just get on with what I'm doing.
Andy, congratulations. A good podium there to Jonathan.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a good race. There was a bit of confusion on the start, but we soon sorted ourselves out and got going. So it was very close for the first few laps. And yeah, I was just doing my best to hold on to Jonathan, maintain the tyres where I could. And but it was good. It was good fun. Got a bit lonely out there at one point because I was quite a big gap in front of me and quite a big gap behind me. But it was, as always, lots of fun.
Steve, a podium here at Brands Hatch, that's pretty good in this weather with this fantastic crowd as well. Well done on the drive. Tell us about the race.
It was an interesting start. I think the green lights, as opposed to the normal start, which you've probably heard from a few of us, caught a few people out, and I managed to get ahead of Paul, which was one of my aims. And then I just held it. Angus and Paul behind me, nip and tuck throughout the whole 25 minutes. It was really a really hard slog, and especially when the Class 1 guys came through just the last couple of laps, it was hard keeping the position. But hey, chuffed. It was great. I wanted that third as well to go on the mantelpiece. So I'm chuffed, absolutely.
It's a wonderful event, isn't it? You know, huge crowd here, and we were saying beforehand, this is a new experience for you, isn't it? Grid walks and having the crowds around you.
Absolutely, the grid. This is amazing. Feels like Formula One, and being on the podium up on the proper gantry as well was fantastic. So for me, it's just topped the season off brilliant. It's great.
Dale, just about to head out for race 2, but how was race 1 for you?
Well, as always, it was big fun. We had a good race in the rear part of the race. I was running with Stuart Ings, who's in Class 4, and just doing my best to hang on to the tail end really. With 2.7, it doesn't have quite as much grunt up the straights as the 3.2s, but it's a good handling car, so I shouldn't complain.
You get plenty of action out of the car, and it's lovely to see you talking to Stuart. That's what it's about, isn't it? Camaraderie between drivers. You have a race on track, have a natter between races as well.
Well, that's right, and the other thing that Stuart and I have in common is that I bought this car from Stuart. Right. It was his up until a couple of years ago, so we have plenty to compare.
So it must be quite odd for him racing against his old machine.
Yeah, I was asking him about that actually. I think it is.
Stuart, just wanted to catch up with you before we go out for race 2, but actually it's race 3 for you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's been a relentless day, 2 qualifyings, and this is my 3rd race, so yeah, not much time in between, but it's all good fun.
And in terms of the Petro Canada Lubricants Championship, there are cars for you to race with, aren't there?
There are, yeah, there's loads of 944s out there, S2s, just want to get a few more in the championship.
And racing against your old car, we were just chatting to Del Brett, and I'd forgotten that, of course, that was your machine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I think I missed well, I miss being further up the field, definitely. But yeah, if we can get a few more cars in Class 4 and have a good race with them.
Kevin, decent start to race number 1. You snuck up there ahead of Mark into 2nd place. But what happened after that?
Doing well. Caught up Mark McAleer. Felt really comfortable. There was places he was stronger than me, but I was sort of catching him on the brakes everywhere, and I thought, well, this is good. I could sit here and then hopefully have a go later on in the race. And then all of a sudden the back end started sliding, and I thought it was a drive shaft that had gone, but it turned out to be a tyre. Just a flat tyre, that was it.
Second bite of the cherry now, we're getting into the afternoon. I think the temperature's probably maybe even a little bit hotter than we had earlier on, but will that cause a problem?
Not really, everyone's in the same boat. It should be good fun. No, I'm looking forward to it. I love the race, the actual race part of it anyway. So let's see what the others have got and see what sort of start I can get.
Pete, upcoming the final race of the year, and I just wanted to really ask, how's the 997 behaved itself in its maiden season for you?
Like we said, it came in too heavy. Steve Kevin will say it's not, but we need to work on getting some weight out of it. I did well at Silverstone GP circuit, but I was struggling. The second gear corners down here, I'm struggling with the weight. But there's more development to come out of it. It will be a quick car. There's 2 more coming out next year, so more on the grid the better. So I'm looking forward to. I think I can do top 5 today. Be nice to get a podium, but we'll see where we come.
Chris wasn't on your rear end today, though.
the first race, I let Chris have it. He had the pace, so we were looking because Team Strasser could win the drivers' championship, as in you know, preparers. Yeah. So but McAleer's up close for it as well at the moment because he keeps getting first. So it's going to be close for the preparers' championship points. So.
And it looks like Class 1, with so many drivers talking about coming in and racing in Class 1 next year as well, it's going to be even stronger.
Oh, bring it on, I love it. Close racing's better, yeah.
Mark McAleer once again on pole position for the second and final race here at Brands Hatch. Mark Sumpter will line up to the outside. Michael Price on row 2 with Craig Wilkins. Then it's Kevin Harrison and Simon Clark. Chris Dyer and Pete Morris on row 4. They're followed by Andy Toon. Jonathan Evans, the leading Class 2 driver. Steve Cheetham is next from Andrew Muggeridge. He's second in class. Paul Seagrave and Steve Freeman next from Angus Archer and Ed Grimshaw. Del Brett, Stuart Ings and Natalie McGloin due to complete the grid, but Natalie at the moment not there, which is a pity. Non-finished race number 1 of the day. So Mark McAleer looking to make it a double. A little bit of creeping on the grid. The nerves were jangling there. Michael Price not quick away. Mark Sumpter very much was, and he's on the outside line here. Mark McAleer on the inside as they go into Paddock Hill Bend. Kevin Harrison third. Michael Price dicing with Craig Wilkins, and the back end of McAleer's car goes around. Kevin Harrison collects him, and he's in the gravel. The race 1 winner is in the gravel. 3 wide. Oh, contact there between Paul Seagrave in red, the green car of Michael Price, and I think Steve Cheetham off as well. There is Steve Cheetham immediately in front of us. Not what we wanted at all. Such a shame in any formula at any time. Craig Wilkins, after that excellent podium in race number 1, is off and on the grass and into retirement. So it's Mark Sumpter. At the very least, that's going to be a safety car. A lot of cars involved in that. Andy Toon up ahead of Simon Clark. Simon looks on the inside line, nips through. Confirmation of the safety car. Kevin Harrison understandably disappointed. So the safety car picks them up. Mark Sumpter is very much going to be thinking that he was lucky not to be involved in that, as Paul Seagrave looks like he's getting out of the car. The main concern, of course, is that all the drivers are okay, which they are, and out of the cars, but a little bit of clearing up. 2 separate incidents, possibly the second one in reaction to the first, where we saw Mark McAleer having a problem, and the organisers have done the right thing and declared a red flag so that we can have a proper clean-up and the possibility of some of those cars joining us. But I think it's going to be a slightly depleted grid for the restart. Going back to what happened, we did lose Mark McAleer, who was sideways at Paddock Hill Bend, and it could have been a little bit of a reaction because some of the Class 2 cars were coming through, and indeed you can see Jonathan Evans there in the 36 car made a lot of progress, as he often does at the start of races, and we had Class 2 cars very much up amongst the Class 1s, and not a sight that we like to see. But these guys are made of stern stuff, and will be back, no doubt. Those that aren't starting race 2 will be back for next season. Craig Wilkins okay, he made it around Druids and is parked up just out of shot behind that marshal's post there with the red flag. Well, it is a depleted field that gets ready for the restart. It's the original grid, so I'm assuming the full points for the number of original starters will be awarded for this race. Mark Sumpter on pole position. Simon Clark a couple of rows back, starts in second, and then 3 Strasser cars. This looks good for Strasser to win the team championship that we were talking about in race 1 and Pete Morris was talking about on the grid. Away we go. It's a very good start. Didn't have to be a superb start by Mark Sumpter, but he did a perfect job there getting away. Simon Clark in second in the Cayman, up towards Druids for the first time. Clark putting pressure on. Chris Dyer is in third place, Pete Morris fourth, then Andy Toon fifth, and the Class 2's having a very good battle as well. You can see Andrew Muggeridge busy there in the 52 car, the silver white with blue trim Boxster chasing the white Boxster of Provisional Class 2 champion Jonathan Evans. And I'll talk to you about the points scenario once this race settles into its race rhythm. It's still not over championship-wise. And Jonathan Evans still in with a shout of taking the title, so he's going to just carry on and do what he can do. And there he is, leading Andrew Muggeridge at the moment in Class 2, but it's Mark Sumpter that leads across the line with Simon Clark in second place. Into Paddock Hill Bend they go. Clark has had 4 podia so far this year, and looking on the inside line, I think Sumpter is further up, the camera angle flattering that, and a good challenge going on for second position. Simon Clark coming under a lot of pressure here. He wants to dish out the pressure, of course, but he's got Chris Dyer right behind him as well, so the Caymans coming into their own at the moment. Ed Grimshaw up ahead of Del Brett and Stuart Ings, so a good chance with a few non-starters in this one, non-restarters in this one, of Ed, Del and Stuart heading up towards the top 10 finish in this, as Simon Clark puts the pressure here on Mark Sumpter. Sumpter the leader. The maths are that we think he needs a podium finish in order to take the championship title, and he's being put under big pressure here from Simon Clark. The Caymans looking very racy in this one. Great onboard shot right at the bottom of Haywards Hill, up Haywards now into Druids, and again Clark looking on the inside line, but it's Sumpter still there at the moment. Three-way battle on for the lead. Chris Dyer is in the mix as well. Dyer looking for a 4th podium of the year in his Cayman, so it's 996 in front at the moment. Wonderful shot along Cooper Straight, heading up towards the left-hander at Surtees. Into McLaren now they go. Pete Morris running in 4th place at the moment. We're going to see a podium Pete here in the last race of the year. Simon Clark chasing hard, and we'll have the conclusion for you after this break. This is the view from Simon Clark chasing the championship and race leader Mark Sumpter here at Brands Hatch, and it is a battle on for the lead. 996 leading a brace of Caymans, and then the 997 of Pete Morris, and Sumpter goes wide, has a little moment on the back end, and through goes Simon Clark into the lead. Simon Clark leads. Mark Sumpter in the Bayliss and Harding Paragon entered car is down to second place. Now Sumpter could, you get the impression with lap times thus far. There is Stuart Ings in the Class 4 car, busy chasing his old car, as we heard in the interviews, Del Brett. Sumpter here, I think, has got the speed to chase. We would have seen that from race 1, certainly through qualifying, but there is a bigger picture. Now Mark Sumpter, we know, will race. Having said that, he's not staying as close at the moment, Simon Clark, as perhaps we thought he might have. There is Ed Grimshaw, and we'll talk about championship points and all of the scenarios as we go through. But Simon Clark, the leader, Pete Morris chasing in 4th. Here is Andy Toon in 5th place. In 6th position is Jonathan Evans, the leading Class 2 car, again punching above his weight. Jonathan Evans leading from Andrew Muggeridge, who consolidated 2nd place in the championship on total points scored to 307. Steve Freeman on 304 running 3rd in class, and Jonathan Evans going through shot there in the 36, busy chasing Andy Toon on drop scores, has 375 points. Mark Sumpter has 386, so a difference of 11 points. And by my reckoning, at the moment, Mark Sumpter on for 31 points from this race, and Evans on for 36, because let's assume he gets the fastest lap, but it's not going to be enough. He'll only score 5 points more than Mark Sumpter if Mark Sumpter finishes. And you can see Jonathan flashing his lights at Andy Toon. He wants to get past. He's in no danger of being challenged by anybody, but he wants to get further up the order. He's not going to get any further points. He's leading class. He can't do any more. The only thing he could do is improve his fastest lap, and Jonathan looking to do that. But Andy Toon, I think, very much engaged in the race with him at the moment. So intriguing battle between those two. Ed Grimshaw there up ahead of Del Brett. Ed's first year, and running with the Strasser team, who have such a striking presence in the paddock, always immaculately turned out cars, and very well prepared cars as well. Jonathan still chasing, so Andy Toon is there, and 5th position in Class 1, 5th position overall, right on board with Mark Sumter, 49 years of age from Sussex, the 2000 British GT champion in GTO, was the 2007 Porsche Club champion, so this is a pretty impressive showing, to having won the title here since 2007, coming back. Seeing a lot of motor racing comebacks and successful comebacks over in different formulae this year. There is Andrew Mugridge, 2nd in class at the moment, and that will consolidate his 2nd position in the Class 2 standings. Steve Freeman, I think, is going to take 3rd in the championship. Again, all provisional until the various tech checks are done. And Stuart Ings will be Class 4 champion. To be fair, hasn't had any competition, but he's been out on track and entertained the fans up and down the country. And he's doing so again in his 944. So Simon Clark. This, of course, new territory. Simon Clark leading. This is potentially the first time we've seen a Cayman win a race, so we could have a little bit of Petro Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship history here. Mark Sumter still chasing, and he'll want the win. We've had perfect conditions today. What more could you ask for? Brands Hatch, a legendary venue, sunshine, and a wealth of Porsche history here at the circuit. There again is Andrew Mugridge in 2nd place. He was saying what a lonely race he had in race number 1, and this is looking to effectively be the same way. And he'll be looking to hopefully come back. If Jonathan Evans moves up to Class 1 next year, Andrew will be one of the fancied runners for Class 2. The lead quartet, not that much separating them at the moment. Pete Morris still busy chasing Chris Dyer. Pete, the 2nd of the red and black Strasser cars, the 997 chasing the Cayman. And then a gap back to Andy Toon. You saw pretty much the length of the Cooper Straight between Morris and Toon, with Jonathan Evans, the leading Class 1 runner, there as well. Here is Angus Archer, our first proper look at Angus in this race. 4th position in class at the moment. The Class 2's fairly well spread out. Here is Andy Mugridge again. Goes out of clearways and through Clark Curve. So it's still the Cayman of Simon Clark leading. And now we've got a Cayman battle going on, Cayman battling for 2nd place. Mark Sumter coming under pressure from Chris Dyer. And podium Pete Morris right behind as well. Pete would love to go out with a podium at the end of the season for sure in the 997. Remember, the only driver to have won in the 997 so far this year. So Mark Sumter certainly got his hands, but he knows that he can't afford to drop points, so he will defend. Pretty much worked it out that he needs to finish on the podium, but as you can see, with 2 cars behind him fighting for 2nd and 3rd place, it's not necessarily going to be that straightforward for him. And Simon Clark crosses the line once again. Simon on 350 points by my math, so 58 down on Mark Sumter. That's the total points scored, and now very definitely Chris Dyer nibbling away at the back end of Mark Sumter's car, but the Paragon car up ahead of the Strasser machine, holding on at the minute. Out of Graham Hill Bend, along Cooper Straight. It's a bit of breathing space, isn't there, for Mark Sumter at the moment? He's responded well, pulling away from Chris Dyer. It doesn't look like Pete Morris is challenging either. Back with Angus Archer, trying to close in on Steve Freeman for 3rd place. Steve Freeman just ahead as they head out of Druids. And Simon Clark has 1.2 miles to go around the Indy circuit here at Brands Hatch, closing on Stuart Ings in Class 4. Down through Paddock Hill Bend, right at the bottom, tummy wrenching moment when you get to the bottom here, and then you climb uphill, Hales Hill into Druids where they are now, exit that, down Graham Hill and into Graham Hill Bend. I think Stuart might get past, he'll see the leaders coming through for sure. Onto Cooper Straight for the last time. Track limits have been observed beautifully this weekend by these drivers. Everybody else moans about it as Simon Clark goes past Stuart Ings, but these boys have shown you, and girl of course, Natalie McGloin, have shown how to run the track here without getting the wrath of the officials. Mark Sumpter goes through, he's in P2 and he's going to take the championship provisionally, but it's Simon Clark who will take a maiden Cayman win in this championship. Simon Clark takes the win. Mark Sumpter takes second place in the championship title. Chris Dyer is third, picking up his 4th podium of the year, but warmest congratulations to Simon Clark on the win. Mark Sumpter for second place in the championship. Jonathan Evans for the Class 2 win in his championship. A splendid year. A shame to see damage at the original start of this race, but Simon Clark takes the first Cayman victory in the championship here at Brands Hatch, and Mark Sumpter is rightly delighted. There is Andy Toon, followed by Jonathan Evans, who wins Class 2. Clark from Sumpter and Dyer, Pete Morris 4th from Andy Toon, Jonathan Evans wins Class 2, Andrew Muggeridge 2nd in class from Steve Freeman and Angus Archer, Ed Grimshaw next from Del Brett and Stuart Ings. Fastest laps, Pete Morris, Jonathan Evans and Stuart Ings.
Simon, what a terrific time to take your first win in the championship. Many congratulations on that. Shortened race, did that really affect the way you approach it?
Not really. I just kind of, the car felt really good from the off. I could see that Mark was struggling a bit. Yeah, I was worried that Mark was going to back me into Chris, but luckily Mark made a little mistake. He's had a slide on some chalk dust, cement dust, and that allowed me to get past him. It passed him nice and clean at Druids, and I could pull a bit of a lead and take the first win. So yeah, no, really good.
Mark, many congratulations on that. Second position in that race. It's Simon's first win, but it's your title.
Yeah, everyone's happy. You know, Simon's really happy, and I'm really happy for him. You know, he drove a better race than me then. I think, you know, my mind was too much on trying to win the championship. I knew I had to have a podium, but it was hard. You know, I'm glad it was only a 10-minute race in the end.
Try to latch on back of Mark. Simon got past Mark. He just had that little bit of an edge. Well, I could see Pete were behind me, and I just kept him. Gapped him, and he just, yeah, I'm really happy with P3. That'll do for end of year, will that?
Jonathan, first of all, congratulations on the Class 2 championship this year, and of course on winning the last race of the season. How does it all feel?
Yeah, really good. It's been a nice season. We've been pretty consistent. The guys have done a great job on the car, just keeping it going and doing the preventative maintenance I think you need to do with race cars. And it's resulted in a win, really, so it's been good.
What are the plans for yourself now, having won the Class 2 championship? We've seen other drivers move up, and I think there's been talk about you racing in Class 1 as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I think the plan is for us to come out next year in a Cayman in Class 1. We've got the car, and that's nearly done. Subject to plans coming to fruition, that's what we'll be doing.
Stuart, another great finish in Class 4. Well done.
Yeah, well, I only had to finish to get a podium, but we've still got to finish. I was keeping Dell and Ed Grimshaw on their toes. They're on slicks and I'm only on treaded tyres, so I think it was good. Yeah, it was good fun.
Short race, but not a bad way to wind up the season.
No, it's great. Good fun. Yeah, it was. Brilliant.
The final table looks like this in Class 1. Congratulations, Mark Sumpter, our new champion. Simon Clark second from Mark McAleer. Chris Dyer next from Pete Morris and Andy Toon. Craig Wilkins 7th from Michael Price. James Birch in 9th and Natalie McGloin completing the top 10. Congratulations too to our Class 2 champion Jonathan Evans, who wins from Andrew Muggeridge. Steve Freeman in 3rd. Ed Grimshaw 4th from Paul Seagrave. Angus Archer in 6th from Del Brett and Trevor Lewis.
Well, there we are. Sadly, we've reached the end of the 2018 Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. Massive congratulations to everybody in the paddock who's put on a great show all year. And of course to our 2 champions. In Class 2, Jonathan Evans, and our overall champion from Class 1, Mark Sumpter. We hope you've enjoyed watching the action this year and hope we'll have your company again in 2019. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.